So you see that now. They have paint and sip parties, so you kind of have these parties with adults where they'll get together and it's kind of not paint by numbers, but they'll show you how to do a certain art project, and you'll come and you'll have wine or cheese and you do these paint projects because we're trying to reclaim that part of our creativity. So these people pay money to do that.
Why can't you just have like Lunchables and juice boxes and Capri Suns?
I mean, we could do that, but I guess it doesn't make, it makes it less adult.
Why cheese and wine?
Because that's what adults like to do. It's fancy.
So
you also can't have wine because you're a kid.
Yeah, I know that.
I like the idea. So let's have a paint party with Lunchables and Capri Suns.
Welcome to Living in 3D Power. Discover your truth, discern your path, determine your power. I'm Dr. Amber Sessoms, and together, let's unlock our power, build authentic connections, and foster collective liberation. Hey y'all, welcome back to episode 24 of Living in 3D Power. This week's episode is a reflection, a remembering, a reclaiming. Recently, I had the honor of holding space for the brilliant Brian King Prolifik Hickman II during his exhibit, Because I'm Black. It wasn't just an interview. It was an invitation to witness, to reflect, to feel. One of the lines that he said has lingered in my spirit since that night. You are abundance, not because of what you produce, but because you exist. Whew. That truth hit everyone in the room hard. And as someone who spent years untangling worth from productivity, and as a wife, a mother raising daughters who are creatives in their own right, trying to help them believe that they are already enough, it was the reminder that I needed in that moment. So in this episode, Emma and I sit down to reflect on what it meant to be in that space together, what it meant to see ourselves, our joy, our creativity, our belonging reflected on the walls, and what it looks like to raise children who don't wait for permission to be free. And before we get into our conversation, make sure you hit that subscribe button or like button. Now let's get into it.
It's me, it's me, it's me. It's me, it's me, it's me. Hey, it's me, Emma. Welcome back to Living in 3D Power. And today we're going to talk about art.
Art, and it's such a great topic to talk about because a few days ago, last Friday, we went to Brian King Prolifik Hickman II's art exhibit at the Civic Club in Harrisburg, and it was titled Because I'm Black. And you got to experience it, and Maya got to experience it, and I was there to facilitate a conversation with the artist on his art exhibit, and it was just such a powerful experience. So I thought, what better way to engage our listeners in this conversation than to talk about our experience and talk about how it connects to who we are as creatives, and also what you're inspiring to be and how that might have inspired you. So of course, we always have our list of questions, y'all, and Emma helped me pick these out, so we'll see, because last week you were like, I don't like that question, because she always helps me.
I don't like a question.
See, now we go over these questions before we hit record.
I don't like
and now
4.
she's like, now she doesn't like 4.
I don't like 4.
We're gonna get started.
Oh.
Okay, so first question I want to ask you, Emma, is when do you feel most like an artist?
When I'm painting with watercolors.
Painting with watercolors, so tell me why.
Because I have a brush in my hand.
So you feel like an artist because you have a brush in your hand? So it's very literal for you. Mm-hmm. Are there any other times you feel like an artist?
Well, when I'm actually drawing.
So for you, the way that you identify as an artist is actually creating something, actually drawing something, actually painting something. Yeah, so what if I said more broadly, what about when you feel most creative?
When I'm doing arts and crafts.
So then you would incorporate crafts in there too. Mm-hmm. So what kind of craft have you done recently that you were really able to express yourself and be creative with?
Well, I done like this thing with extra paper we had from Maya's birthday party, and I made like a little thing and I stuck it to it, but then I threw it away.
You made a little thing, so what was the little thing?
It was like some type of triangle, and then it had like a square in the middle.
So was it a 3D image or was it a paper image?
3D.
So yeah, what I notice about you is I will find if there's paper out or if there's glue out or if there's tape out, there's going to be something haphazardly going on. There's going to be paper on the floor, glue here, tape here, because what you get it in your brain, you're like, you just have to do it, right? You get inspired, you have an idea, and you're like, oh, got to go make it, got to create it, right? Because yesterday I was like, can you please get the paper in the dining room? Why do you always look at this camera? I'm telling all your business. Is that what that is? But that's a creative, right? You kind of get excited and you buzz with imagination. And you're like, I have to do it right now, which I think is going to be really cool when we start talking about King Prolifik's work, because he started out really young. And he said in his grandmother's attic or the third floor, him and his brother, and they would just create and create and create. And I think giving our children and even ourselves places where we can just create just for the sake of creating helps us be more human. So I think that's awesome, even if we make a mess sometimes. Now it's looking at the camera at the same time. Okay, so do you want to go back and forth with the questions, or do you want me to ask you all the questions and you ask me? That might be a little, I don't know. What do you think? Go back and forth? You want to ask me to ask you all the questions first? Okay, so the next question is, when did you realize you were creative?
You already asked me that question.
Well, I asked you, I brought in the first question, when you feel most like creative, but this is like when you first realize it. You think so? So when did you first realize that you were creative? Your first memory, you're like, wow, I'm actually a really creative person.
Preschool.
Preschool? Do you remember what you were doing?
I think we were like making like some type of thing. I don't know. It was with paper. I think it was like, you know those things where you have like handprints?
Like that you put in the mold, the clay?
No, like on a paper.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And also I went to a birthday party with my friend in preschool, and I made this donut. And I mixed like two colors
the
together.
donut you made at the Pottery Works or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it had sprinkles on it. It was like purple and blues and greens. I think that's when
purple and green.
But I think there was blue in it too.
Yeah, there was a little bit of blue.
I think that's when I first realized that you were really good with color combinations, because you know we have the color wheel, and there's adjacent, and then there's like colors that are across from that, and you have always been really good at pairing colors. And just it's like funny because when I
just like this outfit,
she's not she's super modest.
Unlike hers,
we have the same color combination on. You just threw on a leopard print sweater, so we both have olive green bottoms on and a black top. Yours is more like a khaki green, but olive green and black.
Comment. Which one's better? Which outfit's better?
If you're watching, Emma has on a leopard print. It's kind of like brown, light brown, and a dark brown leopard print cardigan, a black, I'm not her modeling while I'm describing her outfit, a black tank top, and a cargo pant, khaki green mini skirt. That's probably 2 sizes too small, but she's still wearing it.
Why?
I mean, it's a cute outfit. It is cute.
And her outfit is a boring, plain black shirt mixed with these.
I like these pants. They're kind of like harem pants, but they're not as big as harem pants. They're kind of like.
My outfit is 10 times better.
Listen, we're filming this from our house. So one thing about me, if I don't have anywhere to go, I'm gonna be comfortable in this house.
This is comfortable for me.
For you, yeah, that wouldn't be comfortable for me. So yes, I have on, but it's comfortable for me because guess what?
Better.
There's elastic
My outfit's
pants. Okay, Emma's outfit's better. Anyway. The thing that I'm realizing, or that we know about kind of our society, is that you do a lot of arts and crafts when you're babies. Like every time I would come pick you up from daycare, I'd be like, oh, you created this apple with your handprints, or like cut off the apple and we stamped it. Stuff that you couldn't even do because you were 6 months old or whatever. But I think the thing is that we would express creativity and encourage it in kids, and then we get older and then we stop. So wouldn't it be fun to do watercolors as an adult? So you see that now, they have paint and sip parties. So you kind of have these parties with adults where they'll get together, and it's kind of not paint by numbers, but they'll show you how to do a certain art project, and you'll come and you'll have wine or cheese and you do these paint projects, because we're trying to reclaim that part of our creativity. So these people pay money to do that.
Why can't you just have like Lunchables and juice boxes and Capri Suns?
I mean, we could do that, but I guess it doesn't make, it makes it less adult.
Why cheese and wine?
Because that's what adults like to do.
Well,
It's
I'm
fancy.
lactose intolerant. So
You also
when
can't have wine because you're a kid.
Yeah, I know that.
I like the idea. So let's have a paint party with Lunchables and Capri
Suns.
We could probably find a healthy alternative. Maybe our charcuterie board with fresh fruit and nuts.
She's making it fancy.
That's not fancy. You like charcuterie boards.
Yeah, but that's when I'm feeling fancy.
Why can't we have a fancy paint party or craft party? You just want to get down and dirty. I mean, I like it. I think we could do that. We could do that.
Capri Suns.
Maybe you could.
And
we could do that
Lunchables.
this summer and invite some family members over, and you can help me organize a creative party. I think that would be a good idea.
I can help them make a drawing because I'm the most talented one in here.
Y'all can't see her face though. She's making this face like I'm half joking, but maybe I'm serious.
Half joking? I'm not half joking. I'm speaking the truth.
I'm gonna zoom in on your face.
I'm the most talented person in this room.
In the room or in the house?
Not the house.
Who's the most talented in the house?
Daddy.
Daddy. Why? Why?
I don't know. Because he has more experience.
So you think you're more talented because if you have more experience? I don't know if that's true. Because something, and we'll get to it when we talk about, kind of where I showed creativity when I was young.
He has like more like different styles. He has different styles of art.
Okay. Well, because he had, so
He
the
can do
experience
like
helped him.
cartoons, and then he can make like logos, and he can make like, he could do all the things, but I can only do like fictional things, like I like to make like fictional characters.
Oh, but I think, yeah, so you can expand on that because, the summer is still starting, just started a couple of days ago, and we were talking this morning about the Pennsylvania College of Art and Design, so which isn't far from us. So Maya's going to take a class, and last summer she took oil painting. This summer she's going to do, I forget what it's called, but it's kind of illustration, but I don't know what it's called because I don't know all the art terms.
Visual?
It's not visual, but it's something where they have different objects and they have to draw what they see. But she's going to do that this summer, and then they have some classes for you. They have kind of found things and making art from that, and then they just kind of give you a full breath of just drawing different things for the week, just experiencing. So you could get like Daddy, right?
I don't like art classes.
In school?
Yeah, in school.
Why not?
Because you have to do it a certain way.
What do you mean you have to do it a certain way?
Sometimes I don't want to draw those things.
Oh, Maya gets like that sometimes. Like she didn't
I'm
like the
like,
still life.
why?
She's like, I don't want to draw an apple.
Like this one time we had to do this thing where it's like shapes and stuff, and made like a barn, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
So what did you do?
I did my sloppiest.
Why?
Because I was like,
But do you understand the purpose of that? I mean, I get that it's boring. You want to do what you want to do, but sometimes they're building blocks
you.
so that you can apply, so you can learn that skill, and then the next time you're like, you know what? I learned the skill, but I'm going to do it my way. So you can tweak it, or you can now draw what you like to draw. So those are things that Daddy had to do because he has an art degree. He had to take classes that he might not have necessarily like, but he took, because he was talking to Maya about pottery, and she's like, I don't want to take pottery.
I want pottery. Like, I like the spinning thing.
Yeah. But he
I
took
wanna
that
try
in
that.
college because he was an art major. So there's things that you have to take, especially when you go to a liberal arts school,
Can we do that
that
this
show you.
summer?
You might be able to find some place to do that.
I need to put that on my list.
Yeah. So we can see her. Like I remember Pop's mom when I was little. She bought me a pottery wheel. I remember that now. She bought me a pottery wheel when I was probably about your age, trying to learn how to make pottery, make a bowl or something like that. But I think that would be a really cool idea. I like that because right now you've only used magic clay.
I want more.
And Maya has that clay that she puts in the oven. She makes little figurines with it. So we can try that. I think that's a good idea. But again, it's making me think that we could have a creative party with some family members, adults, and kids, and just all showing that we're creative. You don't like that idea?
Kinda.
Because you don't like the adults coming?
No. I don't. Like, what are we gonna do, though?
We have to think about it. We can give them different options, but the point would be to reclaim that childhood and reclaim that creativity and tap back into it. But maybe it is teaching them something, or maybe it's just giving them a whole bunch of different arts and crafts. You remember Minister Vondel? So when she introduced us for the live podcast, she goes on weekend scrapbooking and creative retreats where she just goes away for 3 or 4 days with people and they just create. They might knit, they might make scrapbooks, they do all types of things, and she loves it. And I think that's something that we could do more often. We just have to think about it. Okay. So another question is, what's something you've made that you're really proud of? Why are you making that face? That doesn't look like a face of someone who's proud.
Oh, I'm so proud.
What? You don't, that's not very convincing.
No, I'm proud. Like, I'm.
So Emma is looking up images on her iPad because she does digital illustration like Daddy and Maya. So they use a pen on their iPad to draw. Ooh. When did you do that? The other day? Today?
No. Months ago.
So I will definitely put that on the screen, but I like how it has kind of like mauve or pinkish colors and splotches. It almost looks like paint. Like you took a sponge or something, and then it's a girl with really full hair and brown eyes.
There's different, like, styles. There's, like, sketching, ink, drawing, painting,
Acrylic?
Yeah, I think. Whatever this is, airbrush, texture, whatever that is, charcoal.
So there's lots of
elements.
different brushes on, which she's using as Procreate. So Daddy introduced Emma and Maya to Procreate.
This. I know a lot of people use this, but some people use different things too.
A different program.
I don't know, but one day I just decided to make lips.
Well, I think that was pretty cool. So that's something you're proud of. I think because you were doing eyes one day, but I think that's part of becoming an even better artist is that you're just focusing on one area. And the thing, remember the other day we were talking with Keisha Finney, who's an artist in Lancaster, and because I'm not an artist in that sense, she was saying
today.
Okay, so she's showing you what she made today. But is there a time lapse to that?
No.
No?
It's only 1 second.
You made that, and that was inspired by King Prolifik's art, right? Because I have his paper here from his art event, but he had an event and he had King's collection. And one of the questions I asked him was, what was the most challenging piece that you had to make, and what was maybe the most easeful or easier piece? And he said the hands were the hardest. Remember, I looked over at you and Maya, and I was like, oh, y'all know about that, because what did Daddy teach you about hands, drawing hands?
Shapes. I can't even draw hands.
You did. When he showed you how to do it, I thought they came out really good.
I draw mine different. I start with, like, here, and I make, like, a shape.
The palm area? Is that supposed to be a circle, and then everything is kind of like
do you mean
ovals after that? But that's what he said was the most challenging. So I'll definitely put some of his images on the screen. So any other art pieces you want to show us that you're really proud of that we can put on the screen for viewers? But that piece that you just showed, you did that with a tracing tool. No, you have to be honest.
Yes.
So she had an image. I guess you found it online. I don't know where you found the image. And then you used something, okay. And then you traced it. And I think that could be, I remember when I was little and I would start to draw people, you would look at the person, right? I would look at a magazine image or a picture.
I'll trace it.
And then, yeah, we had those. Remember we talked about it before in the podcast and you're like, what are you talking about? I was like, a light box. And you're like, what the heck is that?
Huh?
But that's where we had to put the paper on and there was a light that came through so that we could see and we'd be able to trace. But that's one way to learn technique.
Abby.
Oh, when you did your series for it.
I'm not even finished. I'm adding more things. I'm adding more characters. So.
Okay, but that's kind of looks like the one that you won the art competition for maybe 2 years ago when you did the fairies.
I can bring it out.
I can't remember what you did last year.
I did like rainbow. Three rainbows.
Okay.
I'll go get it.
You don't have to.
I want to.
Okay, well, Emma's going to go to my office and get her artwork because I have a blank wall in my office and I keep saying I'm waiting for the perfect pieces to put on my wall because in my dining room and in the basement I have a wall collage of images. And because of Brian's art show, King Prolifik's art show, I bought one of his pieces and I can't wait to hang it in my office. And here she comes back.
I won first place for this.
Well, they had different competition or entry points, and hers was digital art, and she did, I think it was called the Flower Girls. This was last year's? Mm-hmm. So what Emma did was she has different flowers, different ethnicities, different races, and she did flowers on the eyes, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll definitely have to put that up. But yeah, that was a really cool idea. So she did that all digitally with the iPad, and then I just print them out, and she puts it in a frame.
The 3 flower girls.
That's what she titled it, the 3 flower girls. I think it's great. So I don't see a lot of young people doing digital, so I think that's a really cool.
Start doing it.
Yeah, I think it's really neat. It's actually less mess parents, but it can be pricey because you have to get an iPad and the pen, and those pens can be. A good pen is going to at least cost you $100. And if they're responsible and they don't lose it or break it.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't say anything about you losing it or breaking them.
But you knew I did it.
You just told on yourself.
Yeah. But you told on me first.
Okay, I think there's one more question. So if you could ask King Prolifik one question, what would it be?
How do you get the paint to look like oil paint?
Yeah, because you remember we came in, so the cool thing about his exhibit and the whole experience, and because he's so creative, when we came into the space, he was painting a live model painting, and I asked Maya what medium he was using, and she said oil paint. And then we talked to Keisha Finney, and she goes, actually, it's acrylic, and there's just something you add to the acrylic to make sure that it dries slower, because acrylic paint dries really fast, right? Mm-hmm. And Maya likes to use oil paint, but then I got nervous because Keisha's like, oil paint is really toxic. And I'm like, Maya, are you opening your window when you're using it? She's like, yes. Yeah. And she's like, you don't want to get it on your hands. But also the other thing she said is acrylic paint is much cheaper. Because I remember when Maya took that oil painting class last year, it probably was an additional $200 just to buy the supplies on top of the class.
It's a little expensive.
So I think that's a great question for King Prolifik because I would love to know as well, I think Maya would too, how can she use acrylic paint? Because one, it's healthier, it's more cost effective, and make that look like oil paint. I like that. So good question. So we're going to toss that to you, King Prolifik, and looking forward to a response for that. If you want to give out your trade secrets, I don't know. Okay, so you have some questions for me.
What was your favorite part of listening to King Prolifik speak?
I think, well, even leading up to it, what we were talking about, stop making a face. When he called me to ask me to hold space and to talk with him, it was the fact that he does so much, he outpours so much to us. And this was an opportunity for him to receive that love back. And it was also an opportunity for them to realize that he wasn't just a quote unquote artist. He has a lot of wisdom. Like, he was dropping nuggets, chicken nuggets of wisdom. And you know how everyone was like, woo, woo. They were shouting and like clapping, and like he got standing ovations. And I think that was beautiful to watch. And something afterwards, he said someone or people were coming up to him saying, yo, I didn't know that you had bars like that, or I didn't know that you had so much wisdom like that. But if you think about his art, it's not just aesthetics. There's a meaning behind it. So as I was reading some of this, so thinking about the event details, the questions he was asking, what does it mean for Black people to feel Black? How is one's perceived value weighed in their existence? Is it determined by how much space they are able to take up? Is there room in a society for them to be generously considered, or are they only humanly recognized by a proximity to privilege? So he's asking all these questions, and I love, like, there's a whole thing just on his event details of just questions, which I love because I love asking questions, which is what we do every week. That he was really trying to reclaim this idea of what Blackness means. So the one thing that I love that he said is, I am Black. So when he was talking about his concept, and he's like, because I'm Black. But usually people will say it in a negative way. Well, because I'm Black, of course, I didn't get the job. Or because I'm Black, of course, they don't like me. Or because I'm Black, of course, anything negative. So he was like, no, I'm going to say because I'm Black, I have access to joy. Because I'm Black, I am free. Because I'm Black, I am creative. Like, all of these things. And I love that he took that and took it back. What I also loved was that you and Maya were able to see it, and not only see him as another Black artist, but to see yourselves in his artwork. So many. I think he did 26 pieces for this art show, which was beautiful. I cannot wait, y'all, to get my art piece.
My favorite one was the mermaid one and the one next to it.
The mermaid one. What color was that? Was it blues?
Blue.
Yeah. What was the one next to it?
It was like...
Was she the green goddess?
No, she had like honey earrings.
Oh. I have to look back. I also like the one closer to us, where her face was black and white. It almost looked like charcoal.
Oh, yeah.
And then her whole head was full of flowers. That was beautiful on a yellow background. So I just think his work, and what also the cool part is even you'll see in your own work and even Maya's work, and how you evolve over time and you get better over time, and how you get more nuanced, or you get more creative in what you do. His work has changed so much through the years, and I think it's really cool to watch how your artwork has changed and how his artwork has changed. And also, he does something really cool with his art. What did he do at the end? Well, he did the piece downstairs. He finished that piece, and then he brought it upstairs and did what?
Fire.
He almost lit it on fire. So he does something with art, and he was inspired by some other artists that he saw do that. So I love that he's always thinking and creating ways to be different and be unique, and to also experiment. Maybe it doesn't work, but I'm going to try it. So I really love that. I think that's what I would think. My favorite part was definitely people seeing him in a different light. All right, you got another question for me?
Yeah. What were you like as a kid when it came to art or writing?
Okay, so this is the thing earlier when you said something about Daddy's the most, he's the best artist in the house because he has the most experience. But something Daddy said to me was, when I was little, was, you were actually better than me at my age, that I was. And I just didn't stick with it. I stopped probably when I got into middle school, but I remember being in elementary school and having, I think it was a sunflower that I made. It was come like Van Gogh. They framed it and hung it on the wall. And I thought that was amazing because it was one of the most prized things in the school. They framed my artwork. So it was, I remember me and Emmanuel Gabriel Michael.
Oh, they do that at my school.
Yeah.
Too.
So if it's really good.
They do like the best art piece, and they hang it on the wall throughout the years.
Yeah. So but I had mine framed. It was there permanently. So that was a really big deal. So I think that's when
They have it there permanently too.
Yeah. So I think like that was really cool. And then I also have some stuff because, Grandma's always she keeps everything. And I have bins for each of y'all with all your artwork in it. So you're going to get this too when you get older and get in your own place. I'm giving you all your stuff back. But she gave me back stuff. What year was this? So this is actually, I think, where I started realizing that I loved to write. I don't think there's a year on it, but it must be middle school, because look at that cursive. I wish I could write that nice now. But we had to write a story, and this is how many pages? 10 pages. And I created this story, The Most Beautiful Princess. And I remember when she gave this to me, and Daddy read it, and he's like, this could actually be a children's book, Amber. This is really good. And I probably did this in middle school. So what was her name?
Beautiful princess.
Ionika, I think was her name. Her two sisters and her parents lived in Funami. Funami was a beautiful kingdom on the tip of Africa. Their castle was in the center of that kingdom. Ionika's father, King... Look, I can't even... How did I come up with these names? Anium was ruler with her mother, Karna, at his side as the queen. So I wrote this whole story... And I don't remember what the story is about, but when your dad read it, he's like, this is really good. You should make this into a story. And maybe I still will. Maybe that's something we can do. But you look, it has pictures. It kind of reminds me of, what's the movie? Moana? I don't know if it really, but look, there's like the hearts, I think, missing.
The heart of the feet.
Yeah, come back, the man yelled, come back. Ionika was now safe from the he-devil's powers. She took the veil off of her face and headed onward. The evil witch's screams were unbearable. So I created this whole story. And I think the other thing, how I expressed myself. So writing was something which is coming full circle for me now because that's something I need to continue to work on. But here's my biggest escape was they still have JCPenney's around the country, but they had JCPenney catalogs. You've never even seen this. They're like this thick. They would come and they would have everything in there from furniture, shoes, clothes, toys, and I would sit for hours and look through the JCPenney catalog and plan my whole life. What was my house going to look like? What furniture would I have? But I would also...
Was it accurate?
Oh, I don't know because it was so long ago. I think you know what? That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. I don't know if mid-century modern was in back then, but you know what? Maybe. But the other thing I would do, I would take the pictures that I would see in there. So they don't know if they have wedding dresses in there.
Wash you.
And I would draw. Wash you what?
Where's her hair?
That's her hair right there. It's slicked back in a bun for her wedding.
Oh.
Because she's wearing a veil. So this was 1993. So I would draw
13.
What I would see. So I would have, this was a bridal gown. And then I would do prom gowns. So what is this? Party dresses. And guess what? I feel like this gene went to you because you want to be what?
A fashion designer.
A fashion designer. So I would draw. Or
a cartoon/anime drawer because I like drawing fictional things.
Oh, you could do both. I think that's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's both. Don't ever limit yourself or try to put yourself in one bucket.
Yeah, because my friends want to do like 5 different things.
But what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
So I think you just go where
like,
your heart's leading you.
I want to be a dress designer. I want to be a nail artist. I want to be...
Well, now you hear people talk a lot about being serial entrepreneurs.
What?
So that they have multiple...
Serial?
So mean that they're doing multiple different things that they enjoy. So our friend Kima, I forget what he went to school for, but he now does marketing, but he has a PhD in education. So I'm just thinking about all those things. Like, you don't limit yourself. And then even thinking about Brian, King Prolifik, who you saw the crystal that he had on the table with the copper wire. So he also does spoken word. He doesn't limit himself. He's always trying to find ways to show his creativity. So why not? If you like those things, I think the gift is, how can I find ways to evolve that into maybe something that I can do a little bit of all?
Because I have pictures of like fictional things, and my style is kind of like anime, so.
Yeah, I think that's good, and just keep at it, and you're going to get much better, and then you'll experience other things. But this is funny looking at these. This is all a period of oh no, some of them went to August, so it looks like I started in March and I went to August. So I think I've always been creative in that sense, and then life happens and you get away from it.
You have kids.
Yeah, but why stop? So I just find new ways to be creative now and getting back to it.
Like what?
Like what?
Like what?
So create writing. You don't think writing's creative? So I'm burning
Kinda.
today Toni
Kinda.
Morrison candle from a woman, a candle maker, or chandler. She makes candles. Leslie Salago, I think I'm saying her last name right. And my friend Brandy put me on her because she makes, she's a black candle maker. I'm always trying to support black people and black women in their work. And she makes candles. And this candle is Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison is a creative, was a creative. She's one of our ancestors now. And she was a writer. So you don't think writing's creative? I just showed you the whole story I created. When you think about, how do you think those stories start with?
Not to me.
Well, not to you, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but writing is absolutely creative. Poetry, you heard Evita Colon, Poetic Soul Queen, that night do poetry. You heard, what was her, Kita P. Music sing that night.
Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou. And she said, I told her, like, Evita, I told her that you said she sounded like Maya Angelou, and she said that was the highest compliment. But that's being creative, right? So poetry is a form of writing, but spoken word is a form of how you express it. So there's all different kinds of creativity. I think we limit ourselves thinking creativity is just right the stroke of a pen or a brush. And it's really, we are innately creative people, and we can find ways. People decorate, interior decorators are creatives. They figure out ways to decorate houses, right? Hair designers, they're creative. Fashion designers are creative. I'm not a hair designer.
She's a nail thing, whatever, a nail tech.
I'm not a nail tech, but I do like to create. Just, you know what? I thank you for bringing that up because I haven't done my nails in a couple weeks, but that was a way.
My nails are growing.
I haven't not biting them.
Bit them, yay!
And also, what do you have on your hand? That's another creative thing.
Henna.
Who did your henna? Keisha Finney, artist Keisha Finney did your henna at the Juneteenth Freedom Jazz Fest. And it's beautiful. So there's so many different ways to be creative. This podcast is a form of creativity. So don't ever limit yourself and think what creative is.
That I'm going to take over.
She is. She has some ideas. Okay, so I think there's lots of ways.
Yeah.
So do you have another question for me?
I have two, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I have two. Do you think art could change the world?
Yes. So part of my dissertation, I focused on, I talked about this with Brian when we did the interview, mundane, so everyday things.
Art means a lot of things.
Art means a lot of things. Art is political. People a lot of times will use that as an avenue to get people to think and expand their thinking. Toni Morrison was one of those people, right? She would write a novel, but
I
there
thought
was...
she was a singer.
No, Toni Morrison is a novelist. And then I want to say Toni Morrison did poetry, y'all. Did she also do poetry? Prose? But she...
I think I'm thinking of someone else.
Yeah, you think. Let me know who you're thinking about. But Toni Morrison used her novels as a way to critique this world and to also center Black people, much like Brian centered Black people in his artwork, that she was unapologetic about that, saying there's so much focus on how dominant culture, how white people see us, and she wanted to reclaim that and say, I'm speaking directly to you, Black people. I'm not speaking to white people, because a lot of times in our artwork, remember I asked Brian a question like, how do you navigate that when you want to do something, you have this creative license? Remember sometimes I'll be like, oh, you sure you want to do that? Or like someone want to critique it? He says, you have to give me freedom to design it the way I want to design it. So Toni said, I'm not worried about what white people or dominant culture, people that have money think about my work. I am doing this as a love letter to Black people. And that's what he did. And I think there's a freedom in that. There's also the idea it's not going to be for everyone. And guess what? I don't have to make my art for everyone, but it's a declaration and a love letter to them. So I definitely think it changes the world. There's people that do it for war protests. There's people that do it, they co-opt, or what they do is they take the McDonald's arches sign, because that's art. McDonald's arches, those golden arches, they'll co-opt that and show and critique it to be like, this food is unhealthy.
Yeah.
It is, even though you like it.
I like it though.
But they'll do things like that. It'll take everyday things that you might see, symbols that you recognize without the words, and they'll use that as a critique of culture. So there's definite ways. And what it does is it's an easy entry point where you get someone in like, oh, I'm just admiring the art. And then you're hit with, ooh, I didn't think about that. So I think art is a beautiful medium to change the world. And I think what we're seeing right now in the way that this world is unraveling at like disastrous rates is that we have to come back to our creativity. Now is the time to create. We talk about being freedom dreamers. Our ancestors have always dreamed in the new dreams, have always seen ourselves where we should be, not where we are. So what are we going to create in this moment right now when the world is, they're literally bombing everyone and people are
The
scared.
president is a poop head.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very nice way to put it. Yeah. So, and this is the thing when you have people in power that don't care about people, or they're always just being selfish and thinking about themselves. They don't think about the after effects, about the generations to come. And part of being freedom dreamers is that we're not just worried about what it's going to do for me. We're worried about the future generation. So even generations after you, when you're creating something, you're not just creating for yourself. You're not just creating because it's pretty. You're creating to liberate people and build community. So yeah, I think it definitely will change the world. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. Last question.
What's the most powerful thing you've ever created with your words?
Since now you know that words are creative, even though you didn't think they were. You know what?
Not to me.
But when you read books, you're like, oh my gosh. Songwriters, that's writing. Isn't that inspirational? Isn't that creative?
R&B.
That's all writing. At any rate, I'm thinking the most powerful thing I've ever created with my words. The one thing that comes to mind that I resisted for so long was Dr. Robin Wright. Remember my chair for my dissertation? You've been in her house. She loves you. She's obsessed with you. I was pregnant when I was in the program with her, so she's known you the entire time. And she asked me to write this article based off of COVID and Black Lives Matter and the dual pandemic of COVID and how it's impacted Black people. And at first I was like, I don't want to write it. I was so angry writing it, and it took me a while to wrap my head around it. And she also said, I want you to incorporate your own lived experience in there. So I think
COVID was hard.
COVID was really hard.
Because
and then
I didn't get to go outside.
We didn't get to go outside.
And I didn't get to see any of my friends. And I had to do...
you did kindergarten online.
Yeah.
That was really hard. So Daddy was working from home. All three of y'all were at home doing online learning, and I had to go into school. And I was like, how the heck am I supposed to go into work? So we were worried about getting sick.
Mask time.
It was awful. But
I wore a mask until 2nd grade.
You were the only one. You were like, I don't want that.
My friends were like, why are you wearing a mask? Because I don't want to get sick.
Right. And that was okay. And I was like, she's going to wear her mask, and let her wear her mask and stop talking about her. Yeah. And we still have masks, like, because we stocked up. But I think
just in case.
So the whole point was, like, we talked about COVID. I talked about COVID, but I also talked about George Floyd and how it started this whole resurgence of Black Lives Matter. And also now here we are 5 years later, and the backlash is like we're swinging so hard the other direction where we want to take anything that has to.
At least COVID is over.
Well, you know what? I had my mentor, one of my favorite professors, died of COVID last year.
What?
So it's still, and he was really healthy. I mean, he was older, but he would still bike. He was really healthy, but it's still, it's still out there. It's just not as deadly as it was because people are getting vaccinated.
Because, like, it used to be, like, crazy.
Yeah.
We couldn't even go outside.
Right. So there was a lot. So I think the time when she asked me to write
but at
that.
least I had Kibo and Hero.
We did get them a little later on. But I think the powerful thing for me was it gave me a chance to process the trauma that I went through and how people hurt me and the work that I try to do. And I had to get it on paper. And then I also had to go back and see what happened to those people. So all those people that meant harm for me, it didn't turn out too well for them. The one guy that had me on the radio station, he blasted my name on his national radio station. He was Rush Limbaugh's protege, who was a really far-right, really nasty individual. He would just really say nasty things about people. And this man was kind of leading, like, wanted to be model after him. So he said all these nasty things about me on his radio station. And guess what? He ended up getting fired because he had a hot mic one day and he was talking about Joe Biden's son. So he ended up getting fired. What a hot mic is like he thought his mic was off, but he was actually on air.
Oh.
Yeah, so he ended up
So
getting fired.
everyone heard
The
him.
superintendent from the school got fired. School board president was run out. So all these things happened. So I think the power was, it was one of the first times I had to channel my energy and channel my rage and then use it to actually produce something. I remember people responding back and saying, ooh, that was powerful, that one line there. I think I said something like, this is not racial theater and I'm not, kind of like your gesture. I'm not here to perform for you. But that was a time. And then I would say, this big old book right here. Y'all can't see that maybe, but
The merging of the personal and the collective.
it says the collective, kid.
Collective.
The merging of the personal and the collective was my dissertation. So 360 some odd pages.
Too many pages.
No.
Yes.
But I think because that was my first
I
time.
can only read 120 pages.
Well, when you get older, you'll be able to read more. So those are, I think, are things, the powerful things, because I was able to center other people's voices and Black women's voices, and it helped me to learn things. So that's where I really learned that education isn't just in textbooks, it's in everyday conversations, which is why I talk. I learned so much from you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So I think that's the last question.
She
But
learns everything from me.
this girl's so modest, y'all. So we're going to close out this episode a little different.
No
We're gonna do
chicken nugget wisdom.
Well, you know what? You always got chicken nugget wisdom, but I think you're going to drop it in these 60-second free flows. So I'm going to say 3 lines to you, and you're just going to fill in the blank.
Okay,
You ready? Being a creative means.
that doesn't make sense. Being a creative.
A creative, I mean an artist. So Daddy calls himself a creative. So because it's not just art and painting. Creatives, we talked about writing, singing. There's so many things. So being a creative means. You gotta be quick.
That's doing multiple things.
Oh, so there's multiple ways to be creative. It's not just one way. And I think we talked about before, God created us. He created trees, grass, squirrels, minnows, dogs, people, all these different things, so vastly creative.
Right.
Then our creativity isn't just focused on one thing, right? There's multiple ways to be creative. I love that. So that would also
created the heavens and earth.
look at you, Genesis. But I think that's a really good point. So creative is doing multiple things. Don't limit yourself to one thing. Okay, next one. What I want to create next is
A painting.
I'm surprised you said that, because you know what I thought you were going to say? Because what's on your bucket list that you want to create this summer? A dress.
Oh, that too.
You want to create a dress, so
And a pottery.
and pottery. So yes, again, multiple things. And the last one is the world needs my creativity because.
If no one was creative.
Think about you.
Oh.
It needs your unique creativity because.
I can create different things for people.
How would that help people? The world needs it because how's that going to help people?
I don't know. Because they need me. They need my spontaneous self.
Ooh, listen, we do. You know what that helps us do, though? When you're spontaneous like that, it's like, why can't I be more spontaneous? Why do I have to triple, quadruple, think about it so much? I think about it for months and years and never do it. And so much of what I'm seeing now, it might just be the algorithm, but you keep saying this too, is if you just do it. It's like Nike, just do it. But we sit on our ideas for so long because we're afraid. And you're like, no, be spontaneous and do it. Like, and I think it takes a amount of courage and some cockiness to be like, I'm just going to try this thing. Because if I don't, then what happens if I don't?
Then you're just going to be sad and be like, what?
And wish I would have done that. Right. So I love that, Emma. I love that. So being creative means trying different things, being multiply disciplined. Also, you know, and that's going to look like doing some pottery, trying something new, making pottery, painting, and doing a dress with Grandma Kia. That's going to be cool. And then they need your creativity because you're spontaneous. Being spontaneous helps us and invites us to be more spontaneous and stop living in fear. She's so mean, y'all. She told me I'm yapping too much.
Yeah, because before this, you said, don't be yapping and talking about all your
I always
artwork.
mess with you. You're going to be sitting here talking about your artwork because we're always like 30 minutes. We're going to get done in 30 minutes.
But she's the one who's yapping. It's chicken nugget wisdom time. I need to think. Be creative.
Be creative.
All of us are creative.
Boom.
We just don't know it yet.
We don't know yet. We don't express it. Be creative, y'all. Do something this week to show your creativity. Try something you know. Bye.
Bye.
So, sometimes you walk into a space thinking you're there to listen, but you leave realizing you've been seen. That's what happened when I held space for King Prolifik. And that's what happened when I looked over and saw Emma and Maya's eyes light up. They didn't just watch Black art. They remembered that they are, in fact, art. And Emma said something that stayed with me. All of us are creative. We just don't know it yet. Right? That's the kind of wisdom that stops you, that reminds you of what you've buried. And then King Prolifik offered this. A lesser version of me doesn't have a price tag. Preach. That's not just a quote. It's a call to stop shrinking, to stop performing a palatable version of our brilliance just to survive, to honor our full selves as the truth, not the edited draft. And with that, here's your invitation for this week. And this is taken from my Sundays and 3D newsletter. 1, choose small ways to treat yourself like art, as Brian said in the interview. Honor yourself as the canvas and the creator. 2, pour into your community without exhaustion. That's for me. And 3, create without waiting for permission. That one's also for me. And if that resonates with you, make sure you subscribe to my Substack at livingin3dpower.substack.com. And that's where you'll receive the full Sundays and 3D newsletter each week. And it offers you reflections, affirmations, and practices to start your week grounded and intentional. And if something from this episode moved you, join the conversation on my Substack and all my socials, and make sure to subscribe on YouTube, or if you're so inclined, like and leave a review wherever you get your podcast. It really does help us reach more people. So until next time, discover your truth, discern your path, and determine your power.